The King's Avatar, Chapter 1148, Chi Master vs. Assassin 2. Audio source, wushouworldaudiobook.com. Chapter 1148, Chi Master vs. Assassin 2. Translator, Gnome Yummy. Editor, Gnome Yummy. Old Joe, your distrust wounds me right in the heart. Feng Rui's boundless sea casually followed the other player, and even found time to send a message in chat. With this message, not just Zhou Guangyi but every single person who had any understanding of the Glory Pro Circle was shouting in their hearts. Glory's master of playing dirty. If even you could be trusted, then nothing would be impossible in this world. Zhou Guangyi, of course, was unmoved. He didn't see any clear signs, but he had a gut feeling that Feng Rui's trickery was about to unfold. If this were in the past, Zhou Guangyi absolutely could have guessed that this guy had traps over there to lure him into, but a Chi Master couldn't lay traps, so what kind of danger would be waiting for him to discover? Zhou Guangyi didn't dare slow down, so of course he didn't want to type a reply. He scrutinized the grass and trees and rocks around him as he moved. Shortly thereafter, Cold Seasons retreated all the way to the center of the map, Boundless Sea following him along all the while. As former partners, let's have a clean and dignified fight to determine who wins. Feng Rui called out in the chat. Zhou Guangyi was speechless. What do you mean, former partners? For one, they had never been teammates before. Besides, in their personal relationship, they had always been friends and had never had any sort of conflict. They were on opposing teams, but that never affected their relationship. So what was with that? Former. But Zhou Guangyi was in no mood to chatter with Feng Rui. Tyranny's players might have a word or two with you in a match, but it was never their style to talk on and on. Watch my attacked sky-piercing strike. Another message was sent to the chat. And then Boundless Sea waved his hands, but he released a fast chi bullet. How dirty. The audience all thought this, but would Zhou Guangyi be tricked? Of course not. He had known Feng Rui for many years now and had lots of experience facing him in battle. He wouldn't believe a single thing Feng Rui said in his messages and just pretended he didn't see them. A chi bullet of course couldn't instantly kill an opponent, but Boundless Sea directly used a chi flowing cloud, which was a skill that caused chi to surround the user and increase the user's speed in all aspects. Next, he directly charged toward Cold Seasons. The Chi Master was a fighter subclass, so of course this class was very good at close combat, and many explosive skills were better at close range. But the problem was Chi Master's war cloth armor with very low physical defense, and most close-range classes were physical attackers. So, if Chi Masters wanted to stay close to an opponent and fight explosively, they need to find a good opportunity. It was very rare to see a Chi Master shoot a Chi bullet and then just directly rush an opponent like this. Especially since he was facing an assassin right now, who possessed extremely high physical attack and numerous skills that could deal explosive damage. And this assassin was in the hands of a former Tyranny player. Players from Tyranny excelled at this sort of direct fighting. Anyone who had some analytical understanding of Glory all thought that Feng Rui's actions right now were illogical. An all-star level player should never be making such illogical actions. But this person was Feng Rui. Thus, the illogical immediately smelled of something suspicious. There must be some trickery here. This thought crossed the minds of everyone watching this match. They were using their advantage of being able to see the entire battlefield to try and discover the truth that was hidden behind the deceit. Everyone thought this way, and Zhou Guangyi was no exception. He was 180% sure that Feng Rui was not planning to have a face-to-face confrontation with him. So, when Boundless Sea activated Chi Flowing Cloud, he immediately had Cold Seasons activate swift movements. An assassin sprinting with this buff would move the fastest out of all 24 classes. Even with Chi Flowing Cloud, Boundless Sea couldn't catch up. As a result, a close combat specialist assassin was increasing his distance from the mid-range Chi Master. It seemed extremely illogical and counterintuitive. But no one thought this way. Everyone felt that Zhou Guangyi acted completely correctly, as expected of an experienced player. At this time, how could he let himself fall into Fang Rui's better to first spar with him a bit. In a foot race, Boundless Sea wasn't Cold Seasons' his opponent, but he had attacking skills. As they ran, he launched chi bullet after chi bullet, occasionally interspersed with other skills. Many of the Chi Master's skills required a cast time. It was like the mage's spellcasting, but here they called it chance. The biggest difference between this and spellcasting was that when spellcasting, a mage had to focus, so they couldn't move or make any other actions. Chi Masters were different, their chants could be done at the same time as other actions. This characteristic was similar to a ninja's seals. They chased and fought for a while, but no trickery was revealed. But the assassin was a class that focused on explosive bursts of power, including buffs. They were powerful when used, but their effects were short-lasting. The duration of Fleetfoot was much shorter than Chi Flowing Cloud, so after the effect wore off, Boundless Sea steadily caught up to Cold Seasons. Of course, this was also partly because Zhou Guangyi didn't want to run completely away in the first place. He just wanted to try and figure out what Fang Rui was up to. But after using up this Fleetfoot, he truly didn't discover any kind of hidden mystery. Next, give it a try. This was Zhou Guangyi's thought. These tyranny players never like running around in circles like this. Today, it was only because he was facing Fang Rui that he was careful and went to the effort to spend so much time wandering around. But now, Zhou Guangyi's patience had reached its limit. Cold Seasons was in front, Boundless Sea was behind, using all sorts of skills to attack non-stop. But Cold Seasons suddenly stopped and spun around, riding a cold light as he flew toward his opponent, prepared to kill. Shin Cut. An attack skill that also involved the character moving at an extremely fast speed, and in an instant he had appeared next to Boundless Sea. The audience roared in excitement. This counterattack was extremely sudden, but as soon as he decided to take action, it was with such a decisive move. The assassin's momentum could change with a glance. The Shin Cut came very quickly, but Fang Rui wouldn't, just waiting to be hit. If an attack like this was enough to take him down, did he have the face to stay in this profession? Boundless Sea jumped to the side. With a movement of his hands, a mass of chi sparking with electricity formed between his palms, and he forced it toward Cold Seasons. Chi Master Skill, Flash Burst. After hitting the target, it would pour chi into the target, dealing continuous damage. The skill, if used in coordination with a team seeing the target, a flash burst lasting until the end, could be extremely painful. WuxiaWorldAudio.com. Although this wasn't as strong as that situation, Zhou Guangyi didn't dare slow down. Cold Seasons sheathed his knife from the Shin Cut and jumped directly to Boundless Sea's side. Then, Boundless Sea also turned with him. He was still holding the flash burst in his hands, pushing it in this new direction. "You're using that as a shield." Zhou Guangyi thought. This Cold Seasons instantly jumped up, and then double jumped. In an instant, he was behind Fang Rui, and he straightened his legs into a diving arrow kick. Boundless Sea was still holding that flash burst. This attack was like that. As long as the right controls were being continually inputted, it could be pushed around indefinitely. Even as Cold Seasons ducked around and used the diving arrow kick, Boundless Sea's flash burst was still prepared to be sent toward him. But diving arrow also had the side effect of giving the user another jump. Regardless of whether or not the kick landed on its target, the user could borrow its power for movement. Zhou Guangyi of course wouldn't let Cold Seasons crash into that flash burst, so he used the force of the kick to move backward. Fang Rui finally gave up on this flash burst, and pushed out a chi bullet. This low-level attack didn't cause much damage, nor did it have any particular effects, so Zhou Guangyi didn't prepare to dodge it. But this chi bullet was actually launched inaccurately. Given its trajectory, it was going to pass right by Cold Seasons without his doing anything. But the golden right hand. Feng Rui had the title of the golden right hand because of his accuracy in attack. How could he miss this attack? This guy was thinking too much. This was Zhou Guangyi's instant judgment. He hadn't planned to dodge this attack, but Feng Rui thought he would, so he aimed slightly elsewhere as a predictive attack, making the attack miss? No, it wasn't like that. The instant the chi bullet passed him, Zhou Guangyi realized it. Even if it was supposed to be a predictive attack, there was no way it should have that trajectory, and given his golden right hand, there was no way he picked the wrong position by accident. It didn't have much power, but the chi bullet was a flashing white mass, and as it passed by his face, it filled Zhou Guangyi's camera with that flashing whiteness. This guy wanted to make this effect. Zhou Guangyi finally realized it, but it was too late. He couldn't see Boundless's movements, only guess at them, and in the end he couldn't escape the evil claws of this master of playing dirty. This time, the golden right hand's attack was extremely accurate. Boundless thrust two pointed fingers towards Cold Seasons, and the chi between his fingers was forced into Cold Seasons' body. Chi Master Level 75 Skill, Pulse Break. There were many attacks where the goal wasn't to damage the target's health but the target's stats. Decrease vitality, decrease strength, decrease intelligence, decrease spirit. With a successful pulse break, the corresponding attribute of the target would be decreased. The pulse break that Boundless used here was Break Intelligence, which decreased Cold Seasons' intelligence stat. Decreasing intelligence affected the target's magic attack, magic defense, and total mana. An assassin didn't rely on magic attacks, and the class's magic defense wasn't particularly good either. After being hit by this decreased intelligence, his magic defense became even more flimsy. And a Chi Master mostly dealt magic damage. This was obviously the effect that Feng Rui wanted. After that attack finished, another immediately followed. A palm landed on Cold Seasons' body, a chi blast, and the chi was forced into Cold Seasons' body. There were no flashing effects, but the equipment on Cold Seasons' body suddenly looked like it was malfunctioning, and Cold Seasons' health slid down at an extreme rate. When a Chi Master dealt damage, it was just that quiet and incredible. The combination of a level 75 and a level 70 effect instantly stole away a quarter of Cold Seasons' health. Cold Seasons was ultimately sent flying by the Chi Blast, but after he got up, he saw that Feng Rui hadn't controlled Boundless to chase him over here. Hurry and get up, victory still hasn't been decided. Feng Rui, filled with righteousness, continued to talk in the chat. End chapter.